Maghapon kitang hinahanap.
Shooting with mirrors has always been considered a problem in cinematography, and many productions try to stay away from them as much as possible. You can't shoot directly into them without seeing the camera. They limit where you can place the lights, and they get reflected in them. They produce rogue spills, which is light being reflected where you don't want it. And you have to consider the set that will be reflected in them, often requiring fly or wild walls, or propping areas on location that otherwise would not be necessary. I find they provide more advantages than disadvantages. This film will explain why I like to use them and how I overcome their limitations. For the motion picture Kazon's game, I use them as a cinematic tool in many frames. The most obvious advantage of shooting with mirrors is depth. If you have watched my tutorial on depth of field, you will know that your largest contributor to depth is your distance from the subject focus. We shot a number of scenes on location in historical buildings. These locations were quite small and gave little room for any substantial distance from camera to subject to background, which resulted in a very deep depth of field. By incorporating a mirror into the shot, I was able to triple the distance from the camera to background and quadruple the distance from focus subject to background subject. This technique of framing the background subject in the reflection also triples the illusion of size, as a reflection appears to be at the same distance behind the mirror as they are in front of it, giving the audience the impression the background subject is much further than the camera than they really are. In this shot, the actress appears to be quite far from the camera, when she was in fact practically next to it. In this setup, I used the reflection of the actor in the wall mirror on the same frame as the face of the actor facing the camera, both together with the full shot showing establishing geography. In this shot, I can show the president's assistant reading along with him as he makes a speech.
And the people of the United States for what they have done in the Philippines. But I cannot permit anyone to
The president, although in the far distance and defocused, can be seen in the reflection, creating a flow of action. So the audience is never taken away from the important element of this scene, which is the speech. The extremely shallow depth of field in this shot is achieved by using the depth of the reflected image. My camera is in fact closer to the president, reflected in the mirror, than to the main subject, and the room looks quite large, when in fact it was quite small, only 13 by 15 feet. I used a mirror here behind the senators in this sequence for the same reasons. Notice in these two shots how the reflected action shows what is happening in both directions. And again here, as well as make the set look much larger and grander than it really is.
Let us lay aside bigotry.
In this shot, I placed a mirror directly behind the actress to give distance for me to achieve a shallow depth of field. Her background would have been the same curtain as this. That would have looked quite flat and boring, especially as it is exactly the same background as the actor.
Fine.
This is how and why I use mirrors in my cinematography. The question still to answer is how to avoid reflecting the camera crew and lights. In production, I often use the term hide in plain sight. I shot this scene all handheld with one camera. That's me, holding the camera over the shoulder of Raymond, the lead actor. Now you have seen me. You will never be able to unsee me, but I guarantee you wouldn't have seen me if I did not point it out. If you question that, I suggest you watch the film entitled Test Your Awareness, Do the Test. It's still up on YouTube and a bit of an eye-opener. The fact is, the audience should be watching what the director wants them to. If they didn't, stuntmen and stand-ins wouldn't work. And they do. I knew exactly what I wanted this scene to look like, but to achieve it, there had to be some magic. If I am shooting directly into the mirror to achieve an OTS of the actor and his own reflection, where is the camera? This is the raw material from the Provis offline. I had a fake door made from thin plywood to be rested in the jam. I framed the shot I wanted and had a hole cut in the door. We deliberately made the door dark with little detail. I blocked and framed Raymond in a way to ensure that he never obstructed the camera, so it would be easy to clean up in post-production. The fix was simple. Cut a portion of the door in post and cover the hole with it. It worked for all the shots. Here it goes on the close-up. Good reasons why I use mirrors in my shots, and a couple of solutions to the problems they create. I hope this film will be useful to you.